Okay, welcome back, you guys. I'm going to teach you guys two different meditations this afternoon. This is kind of like the next step in our journey here in this course because we've been covering a lot of different things. And these two meditations are specialized meditations that an individual might need in unique situations. There's a meditation to eliminate sexual cravings, and there's a meditation to eliminate the self and realize non-self. So I'm going to teach these two meditations to you and explain to you in situations where you might use these. So if you're an individual who has a lot of sexual craving and you would like to bring that down and lower that down, there's a meditation to be able to help you with that. The situation where you might do that is where maybe you have 10 boyfriends or girlfriends and you're trying to bring that down to just one, but yet you have all these cravings. Or maybe you have a certain boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife and you have these cravings to go outside your relationship and you know that that's going to be problematic for you. Or maybe you're looking to get rid of sexual desire altogether and not have sex with anybody, because that's part of the journey to enlightenment, is that you can get to the second stage of enlightenment and still be having a sexual relationship. But by the time you decide to go to the third and then ultimately the fourth stage of enlightenment, that individual wouldn't actually be having sex any longer, because having sex is actually a conditioned feeling that you're basically getting your senses stimulated, and to the point where you get to these heightened feelings and emotions, and now the mind is experiencing conditional feelings. So the third and fourth stage of enlightenment, this individual isn't having sex any longer. But if you're young and you haven't really had much sex, or you're having sex now and you're interested to continue to have sex, then that's your choice and that's what you're choosing to do. But at some point you might decide that you would like to let go of sex, because when you're having sex, you might feel really great, and you might feel really great for several hours or even several days after you're having sex. But then at some point your mind's going to become agitated or frustrated or annoyed, and you're going to want to have sex again. So if there's this desire, this longing, yearning for sexual contact, it's going to ultimately lead to discontentedness, either conditioned pleasant feelings or conditioned painful feelings, or neither painful nor pleasant. So by the time you extinguish your sexual cravings, then you'll be able to experience more peace and more joy. But as long as somebody has craving for sex in their mind, in some cases they're going to get it and they're going to feel great, and in other cases they're not getting it and they don't feel so great. They feel agitated or annoyed or frustrated or some other discontent feeling. And this is why the mind can't come into permanent peace and permanent joy as long as the mind has a craving for sex. So there are certain situations where you might be interested to eliminate your sexual desire, your craving, your longing, your yearning. But when or if you ever choose to do that, it's your choice, right? For somebody who's maybe young and on the path to enlightenment, and maybe you're even interested in starting a family or something like this, you might decide to do all the other work on the path to enlightenment. There's so many other things that you're going to need to learn and grow and develop. But then at some point you might decide, okay, been there, done that, I've done that enough times. And now maybe you're interested in getting rid of your sexual cravings. And some people can do that without this meditation. You don't even need this meditation, because the breathing mindfulness meditation and the generosity and all the other factors of the Eightfold Path is gradually training the mind to let go of all cravings, desires, attachments. So you might notice as you get on this path that your craving for sex starts to diminish just by doing the practices in the core Eightfold Path. But then if you need specialized help, that's where this meditation comes in, that it can really target your sexual cravings and go in and help you to actually remove them and eliminate them from the mind. And then you'll see more peace coming into the mind, because you're not having this longing, yearning for these conditioned pleasant feelings based on having sex. So I'm going to teach you guys this meditation, but before I click the button to move to the next slide, there's a picture of a dead body that is dissected with its torso open. And I usually give people a heads up, because ultimately by the time you train your mind, you can look at things like this and be unaffected by it. But for people who haven't trained their mind necessarily, this could be affect you in one way or another. So just giving you guys a heads up that what I'm about to do, and whether you choose to look at it or not, it's your choice. But this is how one would actually end up doing this meditation. So there's a meditation to develop the perception of unattractiveness of the body. Okay, and this is what's going to train the mind to eliminate its longing, yearning, and its lust. During the lifetime of the Buddha, what they would do is they would do what's called the 32-part body meditation. The 32-part body meditation is training the mind to look at the body as being unattractive. Okay. Now they would go through each individual body part and they would train their mind through visualizing it in their mind. They would visualize the hair and the blood and the spleen and the gallbladder and the pus and the mucus and the tears and the saliva and all these different things of the body. And they would visualize it in their mind. And that's how they would train their mind. It's called the 32-part body meditation. And in some cases, they would even sit with a dead body that was dead, and the corpse was there deteriorating, and the maggots would be there, and the smell and the odor that goes along with a dead corpse. They would be there meditating with that in order to develop the unattractiveness of the body. Or while it was burning on a funeral pile where they were cremating the body, they would sometimes meditate there because the fumes are going off and you can smell that kind of thing. So this is what you do in order to develop this perception of the unattractiveness of the body. Because the reason why the mind is interested in having sex is because we see this outer layer of the body and we're attracted to it. Maybe the hair, the skin, maybe we've done makeup or jewelry or clothing or something like this. We've done something to the body, maybe multiple things, to make it attractive to people so that they are interested in having sex with us, right? And that's what we tend to do. And then when we see that other person, we're visually attracted to this person. We're attracted to their physical aspects of their body. Well, the way to knock down your sexual craving is to be able to see true reality and see the body as it truly is, not as being attractive. So that's why there's this meditation to train the mind to not view the body as being attractive. And during the lifetime of the Buddha, they used 32-part body meditation. They meditated with corpses. They meditated when a corpse was burning on the fire because they didn't have the things that we had available to us. Nowadays, one of the things that people do is they meditate on a dead corpse. They will get a picture of a dead corpse and they will look at it with their eyes open, and they will just basically imprint this into their mind so that it's not attractive to them anymore, that you see the body as it truly is, rather than the outer layer of skin and hair and nails and all the other things that we do to make the body attractive. You see it as it truly is. So these are the two different ways that you can actually meditate, is either with the 32-part body meditation. You can meditate with dead corpses. Some people still have the ability to do that, like at a cadaver lab or something like this. Or you can look at images like this that you might get off the internet, or here in Thailand, some of the Buddhist shops will sell pictures of dead bodies that you can have, and they'll have them laminated, and you can purchase a picture maybe for 30 baht or 50 baht or something like this, and you can purchase it, and then you can look at it through your eyes to be able to then imprint in the mind that the body's not attractive. Because whoever you might be choosing to have sex with, if their skin was ripped off, you probably wouldn't be interested in having sex with them because you wouldn't be attracted to that any longer, right? So that's what the Buddha is teaching you to do, is to develop this unattractiveness of the body. And we can do that through images nowadays. Okay, any questions on this meditation, why it's done and why it's helpful and why somebody might do it? Yes, ma'am. This kind of goes really well with our conversation at lunch, doesn't it?
Yes. I don't know if imagining a corpse would work for me. I mean, it's not like I'm not disgusted by. Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I feel like I don't feel too much saying that, because I'm conscious that what it's inside of a body, you know, like maybe for me it would be more helpful to imagine the poo-poo inside or something like that. But I mean, as I try to imagine the body from the inside, I see it from the outside, and some bodies look really good from the outside, and well, I mean, from my perception. And also, I don't know, like in my yoga certification, one of the teachers was talking about how different what tissue? I cannot remember what tissue. It was a weird name. But anyway, he would explain how bodies that make exercise and they have a good diet, they are prettier or more like equilibrados than the ones who don't. So I don't know. I mean, I guess. I mean, it's pretty objective. subjective, what is pretty or what it's not. So for me, it's not about most of the time sex is not about, or what, maybe sometimes, but most of the time sex is not about just being with somebody beautiful or that I consider beautiful, just feeling that closeness to the person that in my non-enlightenment I think I love.
Okay. So what's happening during sex is we're pleasing the senses. That's what's truly happening. We've assigned all other kind of meaning to it, like we're making love, or we're becoming closer and we're becoming one, or like we were talking at lunch, like a spiritual thing. You know, people have added all these kinds of things to it to make it more interesting. In reality, when you boil it down, it's two people stimulating each other's senses. That's what's really truly happening. And that's where the conditioned feelings are coming from. And what the Buddha is teaching you here is how to eliminate that desire, that longing, yearning for the pleasure from somebody else's body and your body being together. So this is what will work if that's what you're interested in doing. But based on our conversation at lunch, I don't think you're interested in doing this right now. And that's fine. That's how I started this, is that when or if you ever choose to do this is up to you. But I gave, before you walked in, all the different reasons why somebody would be interested in potentially eliminating sexual cravings. So you might not be there right now, and that's your choice. But at some point in your life, you will most likely give up sexual contact, whether it's through a meditation like this or any other means, because there's very few people that are on their deathbed still having sex. It happens, of course, but it's very rare. So at some point, you're going to decide, yeah, been there, done that. And you'll see that the mind is more peaceful and more joyful because of that. Whereas if we keep holding on to these temporary pleasures, you're never going to get to the permanent peace and the permanent joy. So this is a technique that you can use if you choose to, but when or if you ever do it, it's up to you. Okay. So now I'm going to move on to this next one, which is the meditation to realize non-self. Okay, this is helping you to eliminate that personal existence view that we were talking about yesterday as part of the ego, that if you have done those preliminary things that are proactive measures to be able to eliminate personal existence view, you've already put together your Eightfold Path, you've already been practicing that for a period of time, you've already been putting those things into place, like the proactive methods to eliminate personal existence view, like your clothing and things like that, the jewelry and things like that we talked about, and you're starting to experience those jhanas, and you would like to go in and really target your personal existence view, there's this meditation that's going to help you to be able to do that. What you do is it's very similar. Let me teach it to you, and then I'll go back. It's very similar to the loving kindness meditation where you're doing affirmations. So you do your chanting on the way in, you do a little bit of breathing mindfulness meditation, but then you do these affirmations to be able to now repeat in the mind, I am not the body. And you repeat this several times. I am not the body. And you do this on the out breath. I am not the body. And then eventually after 3, 4, 5 iterations of that, you move to I am not the mind. I am not the mind. And you do this on the out breath. So it's going to be really slow, right? It's just like the loving kindness meditation. You go to the next one. There is no self. There is no self. I do not exist. I do not exist. And then I am not the body. I am not the mind. There is no self. I do not exist. And you repeat these either the same statement 3, 4, 5 times and then move to the next, or you can do one, do the other, do the other, do the other, and then start back over, do the one, and keep on going through like that. And then ultimately you get to the end of this, and then you go back to breathing mindfulness meditation, and then you go out with the chanting. And this is going to help to imprint into your mind and essentially rewire it, where you learn that this body is not you. It's not who you are. And this meditation is most effective after you've already built up your breathing mindfulness meditation, you've built up all those other factors of the Eightfold Path, you're already starting to maybe even experience the jhanas, and that's the time to go in with this. If you haven't been practicing all the other teachings and you just went in to do this, you're not going to really see the same benefit. You're not maybe even going to see much benefit at all. So you would like to make sure you put together all that other stuff, because the breathing mindfulness meditation, the generosity, all these things are going to train your mind to let go. But if you go in there with this and try to start training it to let this go, it's not going to be really effective if you haven't done all that preliminary work. As you're doing this, what some people say is they feel like they're walking off a cliff. And it becomes very fearful for them. They become very scared. And if that's the case, you're doing it exactly correct, because that's what the mind's going to experience. When you're letting go of this personal existence view, all your ideas, all your opinions that you ever thought that you were, when you start letting go of your self-image and your self-identity and you're no longer clinging to it, it can feel like you're walking off of a cliff. Whereas if like you think, I am an entrepreneur or I am a business person, and now you're starting to let that go and realize that that's not who you are, it can feel like you're walking off of a cliff. And if this is the case, then this meditation is working really well, right? That's not to say if you don't experience that it's not working. It's just that people who report that, I know that they're doing this meditation and it's having the effect that it needs to have. So if you're in this meditation and you're feeling quite fearful and quite scared, if you can keep going, keep going. But if you need to, back off of it and go back to your breathing mindfulness meditation and then come in with it again. And you're going to need to do this probably for a number of weeks or months before all the things that you've been working on fully help you to realize non-self, where you eliminate personal existence view. And then eventually, once you see that your mind has eliminated personal existence view, you won't need this anymore. You won't need to do this. This isn't like an everyday meditation type of thing. In fact, even when you're working with it, it might not be an everyday meditation kind of thing. It might be like once a week or twice a week that you end up doing this, that you kind of chip away at the personal existence view for a little while. And then when you kind of feel like you're about to fall off the cliff, you might back off of it a little bit, wait a few days, and then hit it again and hit it again and hit it again. So if you're noticing that kind of thing, that's what this meditation is designed to do, is to strip away this identity that you're holding on to, thinking that this is who you are, or this self-image. Okay. And now I'm going to back up before I open up to questions, because this is what I'm teaching you guys here. This is the words of the Buddha, where he describes the 4 types of meditations that he taught. So if you're out there in the world and you're learning all these other different types of meditations, the Buddha never taught all those meditations. He only taught 4. These are the 4 that he taught. And I've been teaching those to you throughout all my various programs. The perception of unattractiveness of the body should be developed to abandon lust. That's the meditation to eliminate sexual cravings. Loving kindness should be developed to abandon ill will. That's the loving kindness meditation, to eliminate anger, hatred, and ill will. Mindfulness of breathing, or breathing mindfulness meditation, should be developed to cut off thoughts. That's the primary form of meditation that I teach people as part of their journey on the path to enlightenment. Then the perception of impermanence should be developed to eradicate the conceit, I am. When one perceives impermanence, the perception of non-self is stabilized. One who perceives non-self eradicates the conceit, I am, which is nibbana in this very life. This is the meditation to realize non-self. Okay? So when the Buddha is talking about non-self is stabilized, that's because going from where you firmly believe there is a self and there's a personal existence view to the point where you have realized non-self, it can be pretty shaky. It can be pretty dicey. That's what I was talking about, where it feels like you're walking off of a cliff. So you're going to need to stabilize this in the mind, where you firmly understand, you've realized non-self, that this body isn't you and this mind isn't you. And then what I've done in this next slide is I've taken each one of these meditations and I'm showing you the unwholesome quality that you're eliminating and the wholesome quality that you're cultivating for each one of these meditations. So the ones that I just taught you is meditation to eliminate sexual cravings, is eliminating sexual cravings, part of that sensual desire. And oftentimes when you eliminate this sensual desire, it's one of the hardest ones to let go of. It makes all the other ones so much easier. As long as your mind's holding on to sex, it's going to make letting go of mom or dad or brothers or sisters and other cravings that you have a lot harder. If you can penetrate into eliminating your sexual craving, it sometimes makes the other ones a lot easier. So you're eliminating sensual desire. You're cultivating the unattractiveness of the body. This is a wholesome quality that you're cultivating. Then for the meditation to realize non-self, you're eradicating or eliminating the personal existence view, the concept of a self, that there is a self here. That's what you're eliminating. That's an unwholesome quality that's just going to lead to discontentedness. Because when someone says something, agreeable to you, then you'll get pleasant feelings. When someone says something disagreeable about this body or this mind, you'll get painful feelings. So as long as you have this concept of a self in your mind's going to be shaken up in certain situations. So that's what you're eliminating. And what you're cultivating is the impermanence, and through eradicating the conceit, I am, to realize non-self. Okay, and this is how you actually do it. Okay, so let me see what questions you guys have here on this particular topic, either the sexual craving meditation or this one. The batteries might be getting weak in that mic. Yes, you can see.
It's working? Yeah, it's working, right?
Maybe Cecile's voice is just so strong that the mic's like, I give up, I'm out of here.
It's possible. Teacher, I would just like to understand why it is phrased like that, the conceit I am, because conceit and personal existence view, I understand that that's part of the ego, but they are two different things. So why is the Buddha referring to it as the conceit I am?
In my opinion, this is all very similar. And the personal existence view is where the mind views this body as being who you are. But the conceit of that gets eliminated later through the fetter of conceit. So you can get to a point where you realize that this body and this mind is not you, but there can still be conceit about it. There can still be arrogance and pride. Yep. Oh, didn't work. So it's not just Cecile. All right. That batteries are out? Yeah, there's more batteries right there. Yes, sir.
I want to ask you something about the meditation to eliminate the sexual cravings. Like yesterday, you make a metaphor that you going to the gym is not something wrong, but you have cravings to going to the gym is something you need to eliminate. So for this one, I understand as having sex is not something wrong that you need to eliminate, but the cravings to having sex is something wrong that you need to eliminate.
So I don't think about things as right and wrong, even though we have things like right speech and right action. This is more like righteous or wise speech, even though it's usually translated as right speech. The way I think about it is wise speech. So I don't think about things as right and wrong. So there's nothing wrong with sex, right? It's there. It's pleasurable. People enjoy it. It produces life in some situations, right? But it is a sensual pleasure. The mind is experiencing it and wanting to experience it because it's wanting pleasure. It's wanting conditioned feelings. That's the ultimate goal of sex, is to have conditioned feelings. Where going to the gym, that's not the goal. People experience conditioned feelings when they have craving, desire, attachment to go to the gym, but the ultimate goal going to the gym is to create health in the physical body, right? So with this sexual activity, the ultimate goal is to have conditioned feelings. And there's no way to have that activity without a craving, desire, attachment. If you're having sex, there's a craving. You want this other person to stimulate your senses. You're longing and yearning for that. It's not possible to have sex without a craving.
That's exactly my question. So I was about to ask you how to make the activities of having sex without a cravings.
It's not possible.
It's not
possible. And what I usually tell people is that if there was a way to get to enlightenment while still having sex, I would have figured it out, and I'd be happy to report that to you and let you know all about it. But there's just no way to do it. And I tried. Because the mind will kind of bob and weave and try to figure out, like, how can I do this? I don't want to let this go. It feels so good. Why do I have to let this go? But then you'll see your mind's discontent because your mind doesn't want to let it go. And then when you finally do let it go, Wow, so much peace, so much joy.
And my next question is, the sexual cravings naturally fade away when you age it?
Oftentimes for some people, yes. Not for everybody, but for some people, yes. And that's why if you have ever been involved with someone who reaches natural death, one of the things that I teach people, and the Buddha taught too, is that you can attain enlightenment during your life and enjoy the rest of your life in that enlightened mental state. But you can also attain enlightenment at death too. It is possible. Because if you've ever been involved with someone who experiences natural death, these fetters tend to become eliminated as you age. Like, for example, personal existence view. One of the first things that start happening as you age, you don't really care as much about what people think about the way you look in your appearance. It's like, you know what? If my hair's combed, okay. If it's not combed, I'm still going outside and I'm still going to go have fun. Where when we're teenagers, maybe we're paying attention to every last little hair that's on our head and making sure when we go outside, we look exactly the way we want. But as we age, we tend to not care about those things as much anymore. So personal existence view starts to get eliminated, and some of these other ones like sensual desire starts to gradually get eliminated as we age. And this is where you can see how natural death tends to lean towards enlightenment, but the ideal thing would be to do the work in this life so that you can get to enlightenment during your life, and then you can enjoy the rest of it in this enlightened mental state. So if you got to enlightenment at the age of 20 or 30 or 40 or some age like this during the lifetime of the Buddha, they got to enlightenment as early as age 7. There were some people who got to enlightenment that age. Man, enjoy the rest of your life. No anger, no sadness, no guilt, no shame, no stress, no anxiety. Wow, this is amazing. This is what you would like to be able to do, is get to enlightenment at some time during your life. But as long as you hold on to something like sex, you won't be able to, because in some situations you're going to get sex and you feel great. In other situations you can't get it and you feel miserable. And you've probably had that experience before, where you wanted sex, you couldn't get it, and now you don't feel so good. That's the discontentedness that you're experiencing because of the craving for sex.
My third question is about the non-self. You said, the meditation to eliminate the non-self, to realize non-self, to repeat the I am not the body, I am not the mind, but you also, from the 10 fetters, you said to eliminate the personal view. There's no I am. Don't say I am. But in this case, how do you understand I am? In this I am not the body, then what is this I am?
Right. I am nothing. I don't exist. So that's why you're using this to say I am not the body. So some people, when they do this, they like to say this being is not this body. You can do it that way if you like, but ultimately you're going to need to get used to using this I or I am, but your mind understands that that's not who you are. So like I can say, like when we're at lunch, I can say, I am going to go back to the temple, right? But I know that I am not going back to the temple. This being is going back to the temple. My mind understands that. So you're going to need to get to the point where you can say these words, but your mind has been transformed when you understand there is no I here. And this meditation is one of the ways to help you to be able to do that, that you can use this phrase I am and not associate any particular thing with it. That you're not connecting this I am to the body, you're not connecting this I am to the mind, you're not connecting this I am to anything, and it's disassociating with this I am as being who you are. And this meditation is helping you to do that. These phrases are helping you to disassociate with this I am as who you are.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You saved up all your questions for one time, huh?
All about this.
You've been pretty quiet
slides
up until now in the class. All right, good job. All right, so any more questions on any of these things? Let me see if we have anything on YouTube. No? Okay. So what I usually do at this point, because we usually do a meditation in the afternoon, is I invite you guys to either do this meditation to realize non-self, understanding that if you're just starting out, it's not going to necessarily have any kind of effect. because you haven't done all the other preliminary work, but maybe you would like to just practice it and try it and see how it goes so that some point in the future, when you need it, you'll know how to do it. So I can invite you to do this. Or if there's individuals who would like to do the meditation to eliminate sexual cravings, what I'll do is I'll leave this on the screen so that you can do that. So everybody doesn't have to do the same meditation. I'm going to guide you in a meditation to realize non-self, but perhaps you would like to do this one instead. And you can make the decision for yourself. If you would like to follow along with the guidance that I provide, which is going to be chanting, then it's just going to be quiet. I'm not going to do the guidance for breathing mindfulness meditation. But after about 3 to 5 minutes, then I'm going to come in with the affirmations to realize non-self. Then after that, we'll go back to breathing mindfulness meditation and then back to the chanting. So you can either do that with me, or if you'd like to do this one, you can do this one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can ask 10 if you like.
This is something that I wanted to ask like a long time ago, and it's just out of curiosity because I know that those exist. Mm-hmm. What about people that get I don't know how to say that in English. They find blood and organs and things like that stimulating, because that does happen. Like it has been the case with killers and what's happening in that mind?
Yeah, they're still having craving, right? Like there's people who enjoy having sex with dead corpses, right? And they kill specifically to be able to do that. And people have asked me, like, how do those people eliminate their craving, desire, attachment for sex? Because this isn't going to do it. This is going to arise sexual desire in their mind to see something like this. So my response to that person who asked this in the past was, I've never worked with somebody like that, but if I start to understand their mind, I would be able to figure out how to help them to eliminate their sexual cravings. But typically those types of people aren't the ones who are coming to the temple to learn. But if someone ever does someday, then I would be able to talk to that person and try to understand their mind, and I would figure out how to help them to eliminate their sexual cravings. Because breathing mindfulness meditation, generosity, and the entire Eightfold Path is going to help to knock that down to a certain degree. But going in and specifically eliminating this craving around sex, they may or may not need something. That may be enough. For some people, that's all they need. They don't ever need this meditation. But for these individuals who have sexual desire for like a dead corpse, I imagine they have pretty strong sexual cravings, and I would need to talk with them to understand their mind more, to be able to figure out how could I help this person in a way that is, something along these lines, but not this.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so the answer is I don't know. But I would figure it out if I had someone that needed that help. Yeah. Okay. All right. So you guys do whatever you like to do. And I'm not going to guide you on the breathing mindfulness meditation part. I'll just guide you on the meditation to realize non-self. Okay? Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Bhutang Bhagavanang Apivateyami Savakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipano Bhagavato Sāvaka Saṅkho Sanghang Namami Namo Rasa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Rasa Bhagavato Arahato พุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะอิติปิโสมะคะวะอะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธวิชาจารณังสัมมุโนสกขาโตโรกาวิตูอนุเตโรปุริสาดามาสติสตาตาวามนุสนังโอโตภาควาติ Continuing to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Repeat these affirmations in the mind on the out breath. I am not the body. 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 I am not the mind. 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 There is no self. 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 I do not exist. 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 I am not the body. I am not the mind. There is no self. I do not exist. I am not the body. I am not the mind. There is no self. I do not exist. I am not the body. I am not the mind. There is no self. I do not exist. I am not the body. I am not the mind. There is no self. I do not exist. I am not the body. I am not the mind. There is no self. I do not exist. Now go back to breathing mindfulness meditation, focusing on the breath, cutting off and letting go anytime the mind moves off the breath. Breathing in and out. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Mahakeva Potang Mahakavanang Apivateyami Savakato Mahakavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami สุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสังฆังนามามินะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะอิติปิโสภะคะวะอะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธวิชาจารณังสัมมุโนสกขาโตโรกาวิตุอนุเตโรปุริสาดัมมาสติสัตตาตาวามนุสนังพุทโธภาควาติ Okay, if you guys would like to slowly make your way out of meditation, what I'm going to do is open up to any remaining questions you guys may have about either of these meditations. But before I do, I'd like to just point out something here that I would like to mention. Where this phrase says, I do not exist, this isn't to mean that there isn't a being here. There is a being that's in existence. It's just letting go of that I. This I does not exist. Okay, that's what this is for. Okay, so do you guys have any questions on this? No? Okay. Well, depending on where you are in your practice, this is going to have a varying effect. If you're just starting out, just starting to learn, probably not very much effect. If you've been learning a while and you've been training your mind and you've been doing that breathing mindfulness meditation and a lot of the other things that the Buddha teaches, this can have more and more of an effect for you. So this is a new tool that you guys that you'll have in your tool belt. But remember, a tool isn't a tool until you practice it and develop it for a period of time, right? So if you pick up a hammer, the first time you pick up a hammer, it's not actually a tool yet. It's not until you use it 5, 10, 15, 30 times before now it's actually a tool that you can accomplish things with. So it's the same kind of thing with these meditations, that when you're learning walking meditation or these kinds of meditations, even breathing mindfulness meditation, it may not be effective right away until you actually start really working with it over multiple sessions. So as you guys need help, feel free to reach out. I'll help you as you might decide to integrate this into your practice for here or there. Okay, so tomorrow, what we're going to be doing is we're going to start off with the meditation of realized non-self rather than the loving kindness. We're going to do this one to start off our morning so you guys get a chance to practice it again and kind of see what it's like, get some more experience with it. Then I'm going to teach you the 5 hindrances. These are the 5 obstructions to your enlightenment and what's going to block you from attaining enlightenment. And I'm going to teach you how to eliminate those too and how to eradicate them from the mind. Then we'll have a lunch and we'll come back and do breathing mindfulness meditation, and I'll teach you how to determine if you've attained enlightenment or not. And then after that, I'm going to teach you how to integrate the teachings into your life on a day-to-day basis, and then I'm going to teach you continued support. So this is what I'm going to be sharing with you tomorrow. So whatever you choose to do today, have a wonderful day, and perhaps we'll see you guys another day. Sawadee Kap. Sawadee Kap. You're welcome.